I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site. Two of the highest profile IPOs of the year price shares today.
I'm Remy Blair in San Francisco. Promising announcements for drug candidates are boosting several names, and a Bay Area biotech is getting a lift on a finalized deal. Is this a one-time pop or a long-term move?
Welcome to Small Cap Nation. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. Mobile payments company Square is set to price shares for its initial public offering late today and was expected to be a harbinger for how other highly valued tech companies are received in their public debuts. San Francisco-based Square, run by Twitter's chief executive Jack Dorsey, is one of the most prominent unicorns or private companies valued at $1 billion or more to plan a public debut this year. Meanwhile, Match.com is aiming for a $3.6 billion valuation with its pricing today. That would allow it to raise $537 million in its IPO at the NASDAQ. 59 million people a month visit Match.com and its other properties that include Tinder and Plenty of Fish. Well, GNC and Vitamin Shoppe shares dropped as the Justice Department, the FDA, and other U.S. agencies intensify their scrutiny of the dietary supplement industry. Manufacturers of nutritional products, including USP Labs and SK Labs, were charged by the U.S. for fraud in the sale and marketing of dietary supplements. While GNC and Vitamin Shoppe sell products by some of those companies, they were not charged with any wrongdoing. Lumber Liquidators says it is adopting new standards and won't sell vinyl flooring made with reprocessed plastic, as well as limiting lead in flooring. It'll be the first retailer to make such a pledge. Lumber Liquidators is the subject of two separate federal investigations, one alleging that some of their products give off potentially dangerous chemicals, and the other over allegedly illegally imported hardwoods. Well, lots of small cap companies making news today, and here's a rundown. EPAM Systems will hold a call on the Alliance Global deal today. Jack in the Box said its sales and revenue were higher, but not as much as expected. Shares of Universal Insurance dropped by more than 30% following a presentation by fund manager Anthony Baza, who identified the company as a good short candidate at the Robinhood Conference of Money Managers. AgroFresh Solutions net sales dropped 6% year over year. Eros International's revenue topped estimates. RCS Capital has named Lawrence Roth as CEO. Willis Lease Finance starts a Dutch auction to tender up to $8 million worth of common stock. Now, in addition to Square and Match, some other IPOs are expected to price today. Mimecast is selling 7.75 million shares at $10 to $12, and Biotech will sell 5.5 million at $10 to $12. Shares of Solar City spiked higher on news that the private equity giant Silver Lake Partners will announce a large new investment in the solar power company today. Dealbook reports that Silver Lake Craftwork, the private equity firm's clean energy investment arm, will announce a $100 million investment in Solar City's convertible notes. Well, some of the best Black Friday deals can be found among small cap retailers. WalletHub says for the absolute best deals, head to JCPenney. They have the average discount of 68% on items. At that rate, it looks like JCPenney is looking to clear out inventory. Behind JCPenney, the best deals can be found at Stage Stores, Groupon, and Belk. AMC Entertainment and Regal Entertainment Group were sued by a small cinema chain of conspiring to squeeze out its theater in Houston and one planned for Dallas. IPOs Gold Class Entertainment says the larger chains engage in anti-competitive behavior, including demanding film licenses that exclude IPOs theaters. Two companies with product candidates are in the pipeline, and they are soaring today. Anavex Life Sciences and Actinium Pharma are posting a strong advance on high volume. How far along is Anavex in its product life cycle?
Hi Jane, Anavex Life Sciences shares are up nearly 30% on Wednesday. The clinical stage biopharma announced that it is moving forward with its development program for its Alzheimer's candidate Anavex 2-73. Now, based on FDA guidance, the New York-based company will conduct clinical trials at the phase 2 and 3 level to assess its treatment of Alzheimer's. This will be in a larger double-blinded, randomized, and placebo-controlled trial. An exact date has yet to be announced in terms of when the trial will be kicking off. Earlier this month, the candidate showed positive results in a mid-stage study with mild to moderate Alzheimer's. The study met its primary objectives and met its secondary endpoints.
What set Anavex apart from other names in healthcare that are in the Alzheimer's treatment space?
Well, the company is not focused on treating the symptoms of Alzheimer's, but on the cause, which is believed to be protein misfolding. Now, this is a varied and exciting approach. Keep in mind there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease. And currently, there are only 4 FDA-approved drugs on the market that treat the symptoms and not the cause. Anavex Life Sciences Anavex 2-73 can work as an agonist or as a chemical that binds to the receptor that is behind protein misfolding. And just as fascinating, the same mechanism can work in Parkinson's and Huntington diseases. According to positive preclinical data, there may be potential for the drug to treat additional central nervous system disorders such as epilepsy. It has been a struggle for big pharma companies like Biogen and Eli Lilly when it comes to Alzheimer's research. But according to the Alzheimer's Association, the disease could cost Americans $1.1 trillion by 2050. And with Americans already spending a multi-billion-dollar sum on treatment, the demand is there and expected to grow.
Actinium Pharma is also soaring in midweek trade. What's behind the strong gains for the company?
Actinium Pharmaceuticals submitted an IND application with the FDA. Now, with the investigational new drug application, the company is gearing up for a phase 3 trial of its product candidate, IOMAB-B. This drug candidate aims to treat refractory and relapsed acute myeloid leukemia patients over the age of 55. The trial will take place with 150 patients, and the primary endpoint is durable complete remission. This is defined as a complete remission lasting at least 6 months, and the secondary endpoint will be overall survival at 1 year.
We'll have more biotech news as we show you some of the highlights from the Salomon Biotech Conference in NYC. Patricia Wu has the story next on Small Cap Nation.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So Hat-Trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight.
Can't stop me now.
Stay low. Come on, Serena.
Can't stop me now. You don't want me. Can't mess with this.
Back to the top. Here we go.
You don't want me.
4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're going to stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
The Salomon Biotech Conference wrapped up this week from New York City, and Patricia Wu has some of the highlights.
I'm Patricia Wu at the Salomon Biotech Conference in New York City. Hear what experts in the space have to say about the investment climate and the opportunities in the growing life science industry.
You've had seen great outperformance in the biotech publicly traded companies for the last 3 years. This year, it's not as strong, although it's still outperforming the market. But what you've seen, and evidence of frothiness, is where you've had some companies that started up having bought failed drugs from large pharma, and they were immediately valued as if they were true innovators. And I think that sort of thing begins to tell you that, like we've seen in tech busts in 2000 and 2002, and we're getting to see signs of that also in technology, that things are slowing down a bit. So it's going to be a little bit tougher, and investors, I think, are going to be a lot more selective in terms of what they're buying, which doesn't mean there still is not lots of opportunity for companies that really, have the right approach and the right products. And because I think investors, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, later, but there has been a big sea change in what's happening in biotech, and investors have really been waking up to it. And even I'm more of a generalist. I'm really paying attention because there will be a lot of money to be made over the next 3-5 years and more in this space. I think there is so much real innovation going on, and some real disruptive technologies, what's happening in rare diseases, targeted disease approaches, as we're seeing with, Daniel is here with immune pharmaceuticals as an example of that. And you have, for instance, in the genomics area, and I'm sure all of you know this, very well, but the genomics area will continue to be a huge source of unprecedented innovation, and that's whether it's gene therapy or gene editing or clinical genomics. And you've also got the targeted diseases, with monoclonal antibodies. That's going to full bore right now. And you've got a lot of companies creating value that will be coming public in the next few years. In oncology, we know what's going on there with adoptive cell transfer. And you've already, and it's a little early call, but it looks like in some cases there's actual cures, and that has to do with certain blood cancers. And then stem cell research, regenerative medicine, it's on and on and on. And you look at what's happening right now, there are, in terms of this innovation, for the next 5 years, some 200 specialty drugs that are set to launch, and there's another 900 plus in development. This is the second wave of innovation coming, and so there is still a lot to go on and a lot to invest, but it will have to be much more targeted in-stock selection. Because obviously there's, and that's another thing, in terms of what's been happening this last few years, and why it's been such a boom time for biotech is that in the past, you really had to be very careful when you invested in biotech, and typically investors waited to see phase 2 maybe, but phase 3 for sure. You had to see the white of their eyes before you'd invest because it was so risky. Now you are seeing in phase 1, after some phase 1 results which are so powerful and so strong, you will see investors come in, and that's a real change.
For more on the Salomon Biotech Conference, go to smallcapnation.com.
The European markets are showing increased volatility, plus big news on the music streaming scene. The stories from Paris when Small Cap Nation returns.
Good. Very good. You see something moving off the shelves, and your first thought is to investigate the company. You are Type E. Yes, investment opportunities can be anywhere. Or not. But you know the difference.
E-Trade's barcode scanner. Shorten the distance between intuition and action. E-Trade. Opportunity is...
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family. There was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
Sometimes the present looked bright, sometimes romantic. There were tears in my eyes, and tears in my eyes. And so many little things that we learned were really the biggest things. Through it all, we saved and had a retirement plan, and someone who listened and helped us along the way. Because we always knew that someday the future would be the present.
Every someday needs a plan. Talk with us about your retirement today.
Graham, what is happening in the European markets today?
Well, after 2 days of steady gains, the markets today have been up and down all over the place. Germany, Italy and Switzerland initially rose, and then all markets fell back, and now all except Italy, France and Spain were up, but could well be down again before the close. So it appears we're now going into some sort of volatile period, probably certainly for the rest of the week. On the data front, there wasn't a lot of data. Production in construction in the Eurozone rose by 1.8% year on year in September. This was after a downwardly revised 1.4% drop the previous month. Civil engineering increased by 2.4% and building construction by 1.6%. But again, across the EU, it is very variable in where the ups and downs were. The best ups were recorded in Hungary, Slovakia and Holland, the Netherlands, whilst the largest downs were increased, recorded in Slovenia, which is right next door to Slovakia, Portugal and Sweden. So again, a very variable outlook and story.
Well, Graham, what are you looking at today?
Well, first, to follow up on our previous coverage on Pandora and Deezer, we seem to have a lot of movement in the music streaming world.
Yes, we have Pandora purchasing radio, which was close to bankruptcy, to expand its membership and coverage.
Yes, in addition, we have Apple closing Beats Music, which they just purchased a year ago to focus on their own Apple Music service. And Microsoft has very quietly closed its Zune service to focus on its Groove offering.
Yes, and we now have Yahoo launching a new music app that can be used in a similar way to Pandora or Spotify.
And we have some news indicating that Pandora is also looking to expand into Europe.
Well, that could be interesting. Is there any news from Deezer since they canceled their IPO?
No, not at the moment, but you would think that they, with their membership coverage, could be a takeover target for someone like Pandora, a quick way to expand their membership base.
Yes, it's certainly a possibility. Remember, you heard it here first.
We will certainly keep an eye on the story.
What else have you got for us today?
Small cap and biotech stocks were very much in the spotlight yesterday, with a number of well-followed London AIM names seeing milestones. Starting with a company we've been following, this Farron Pharmaceuticals, they got off to a really premium debut on the AIM. Yesterday they issued their shares at 260, which valued the company at just over 60 million. And in the first morning's dealing had climbed as much as 13.5% to an intraday high of 295. So very good for Farron. The company, which is about to start a phase 3 trial for that respiratory drug, joins the small cap market, having raised 10 million to fund the clinical trial. Dr. Marku Jelken, Farron Chief Executive, described, "We believe that the support shown by new and existing shareholders demonstrates a strong understanding of the value of our late-stage product, Trucamin, in development for the treatment of acute respiratory distress syndrome, ARDS, which we've talked about before." Another biotech pharma company in the news with a potential orphan disease treatment, shares in Summit Therapeutics rose after it revealed a potential breakthrough drug for an incurable condition, which is now headed to the next phase of clinical development. Its treatment, SMT-C1100, I guess it will get a better name sometime later, offers hope to sufferers of Duchenne muscular dystrophy, a muscle-wasting disease that apparently just affects boys. Chief Executive Glenn Edwards said the company has successfully achieved a major milestone in the drug clinical development. The data clear an important hurdle for the development of the drug by demonstrating its viable drug candidate to bring proof of concept for the company's burgeoning pipeline, and more importantly, hope to all patients living with this horrible disease. Summit's share were changing hands, up 3% at 162.5, values the company just under 100 million. And finally, on a much broader medical front, allergy therapeutics is raising 12 million for a market step change. It said it will issue stock at 28p, using the proceeds to invest for new product development. The company has already produced a suite of products aimed at common pollen allergies, and specifically it's looking to create new products aimed at tackling food allergies, and is accelerating its work on inoculations against the house dust mite, which is a problem for some people. And the company has developed a suite of products aimed at common pollen allergies and has created a very sound business here in Europe already. And it reckons, the analysts believe, it has long-term opportunities in the States, where its flagship product, Pollinex Quattro, is set to hit the market in the next 3 or 4 years. So its shares are actually up 61% and currently at 29.7. Panmure Gordon analyst Dr. Mike Mitchell repeated his buy recommendation and a 47p share target price following this morning's announcement. There are more examples that we don't have time for today, but it does appear that the London AIM-based biotech pharma companies with clearly targeted and focused products are doing well and prospering. This is Graham Brown for Small Cap Nation Europe, wishing you goodbye.
One biotech company's value is going way up after a deal with the big German pharma Merck. We'll take you to San Francisco next when Small Cap Nation comes right back.
Everyone works hard for a reason. Working together, we can help you prepare financially for when 2 becomes 3. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far.
You want to be the best investor you can be. You want to cut through the noise of an overwhelming amount of analysis. You want the insights that will help you decide which ideas to execute and which to leave behind. You want your trades executed in 1 second or less, guaranteed and routed with institutional quality technology. Look no further. Open an account and find more of the expertise you need to be a better investor.
When I got the phone call that we had received the grant, I held my breath.
To have a program like this is a big reward. Being a Chase Mission Main Street grant recipient is a game changer.
One of the biggest surprises in starting a small business is the number of hours we should work for the first 20 years.
One of the great things about this grant is that it is going to let us invest in some additional inventories. It's going to allow this business to go to the next level. Being a recipient of this grant, we can't be thankful enough.
It's a dream come true, and I'm still in awe.
One biotech company is getting a boost on a big pharma deal. What does the Merck deal mean for Threshold Pharmaceuticals?
It's been a choppy few months for Threshold Pharma. The South San Francisco-based biotech is seeing a boost on the session, and this comes as it finalized definitive terms of its deal with German drug maker Merck. Now, the deal is for ivofosfamide. This is an investigational hypoxia-activated drug that is currently in 2 fully enrolled phase 3 trials for advanced soft tissue sarcoma and advanced pancreatic cancer. Meanwhile, the finalized deal allows Threshold to field its own sales force in collaboration with Merck. Merck will be responsible for all all other commercial and medical affairs associated with the drug's launch. Previously agreed milestone and royalty arrangements remain the same. Threshold has received around $110 million from Merck, with a further $440 million of potential milestones on the horizon.
How does this deal position Threshold Pharma?
Well, Threshold's ifosfamide is being evaluated in 2 phase 3 clinical trials, one for the treatment of various diseases, and it also has a license rights to development program based on the clinical stage oncology compound TH4000. It also has an investigational positron emission tomography imaging agent for hypoxia, and it helps identify and quantify hypoxia in tumors in vivo. In terms of the latest deal, Threshold Chief Executive Barry Selleck said that the company was now well positioned to integrate a commercial arm to its business. In a statement, Selleck says the ability to co-promote and field a sales force represents one of 2 key options, allowing the company to participate in the commercial phase of ifosfamide's life cycle should it receive FDA approval. And the license agreement also provides us with an option to co-commercialize ifosfamide in the U.S. depending upon achieving certain milestones, which would allow us to share in up to 50% of the profits from the sale of the drug.
What sets the biotech company apart from its competitors? And as for the stock, will the roller coaster ride continue?
Threshold Pharma focuses on drug discovery and development, and the treatments target the microenvironment of solid tumors as well as the bone marrows of some cancers. Recently, the company received 2 U.S. patents for toloxetinib bromide, and at the beginning of this month, its quarterly earnings report showed a top forecast on revenue, while EPS came in better than expected. In October, Cantor Fitzgerald reiterated a buy rating and set a $14 price target. In terms of RBC Capital, it reiterated a buy rating on shares of Threshold Pharmaceuticals. And in August, Piper Jaffray restated an overweight rating and issued a $12 price target. The company is scheduled to report earnings again in March of next year.
Xenia Hotels and Resorts hit a new low for the year, and now the analysts are weighing on the stock. Our daily buy, sell, and hold segment when Small Cap Nation comes right back.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So hat-trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up your number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight. Stay low. Come on, Serena.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're gonna stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
In buy-sell hold action today, Cognex was raised to a buy at Canaccord. CommScope was downgraded by Zacks. Fulton Financial rated new neutral at JP Morgan. Lending Club was raised to a buy at Stern AG. Middleby raised to outperform at BMO Capital Markets. Nordson is a new sector outperform at RBC Capital. Rackspace raised to a buy at Morningstar. Osiris Therapeutics downgraded at Breen Capital. And Xenia Hotels and Resorts rated new market outperform at JMP Securities. Thanks for joining us for Small Cap Nation, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, check back for the latest news and research on smallcapnation.com, Facebook, and Twitter.